The following is brought to you by Bleacher Report. If you guys want to check out my live post-game reaction show, make sure to have the Bleacher Report app downloaded and ready to fire up right after the game. You'll find me in the Chargers section. Bolt up. Oh my God. Oh man. Kyoto Bolt fam. It's the director. Chargers fans around the world, welcome to your reaction show post Kansas City Chiefs Chargers home opener in Brazil, where some of the most spectacular football I've ever seen has been played and shown to us tonight, man. Oh my goodness. The repercussions of this game, the efforts, the preview of things to come, absolutely insane. With this, say it with me, Bolt fam, victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm literally in shock right now. I was shaking at the end of the game. When it felt like the Chargers were about to charger, we gave up that huge pass to Hollywood Brown. It felt like the Mahomes comeback was inevitable. And what happened? The curse feels like it has broken. What we have lived through so many times as Chargers fans, the last second heartbreaks, the clutching defeat from the grips of victory. It feels like this game helped us make a statement of putting that behind us. And it's because, in my opinion, of what Jim Harbaugh has done over the last 2 years. A formula has been followed. A chemistry has been created. The roster has been constructed to finish out football games. Yes, it got a little sketchy out there for a little while. I'm not going to lie. Like that fourth quarter was nothing but, stressful and crazy. But the ability to run the football, so important. The ability to stay in front of your opponent, so important. And in this particular game, the ability to keep the ball out of the hands of Patrick Mahomes is so freaking important. As a matter of fact, not just on YouTube and stuff, but here on Bleacher Report, where we've been doing a lot of shorts and stuff lately, we talked about the keys to victory in this game, I think just yesterday in our short. And there was a few of them that really steered this game in particular. One, and I'm going to say for the most part, they were a little, maybe not executed to what I was hoping. The first big one was the penalties. You got to keep the penalties to a minimum. The Chiefs don't need help. We kind of sucked at that. The other one was keeping Patrick Mahomes contained. We also really kind of sucked at that. But the third one, and maybe the most important one, was taking control of the game. Run the football effectively, efficiently, bleed the clock, and don't give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes. That's we did very, very well. And I feel like that's a big reason why the Chargers walked away victorious in this one. So with that being said, baby, let's get into it. We got a lot to uncover on this one in what was, yes, I'm seeing it in the chat, a statement game played in Brazil where the Chargers now see themselves at the top of the AFC West, dude. Could this be the season the Chargers dethrone the Chiefs? We're off to a really, really good start with that, man. So let's dissect a little bit of what we saw in this one, man. Let's see the stat breakdown here, dude, because we had a couple of absolutely insane performances from some of the best in the business. Let's start things off with Justin Herbert. Now, yes, coming into this game, Jim Harbaugh year 2, lots of narratives around, controlling the ground game and this and that. But ultimately, what won us this game was one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. I've been hearing a lot of hearsay about, is Justin Herbert even a top 10? Does he have it? Yes, we maybe have more to prove in the postseason, but this game is going to silence a lot of haters, considering I don't know if a lot of people even had Justin Herbert putting up more than 220 yards, maybe one touchdown. You take a look at fantasy across the board, that was kind of what you were seeing. Justin Herbert not only goes in there and finds a way to win, but he shoulders a lot of this offense, quite literally at the end as well. 25 completions for 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, a QB rating of 131.7 is as good a game you're going to see from Justin Herbert in his career. He came out flying and finding success with his new weapons. I think that's a big part of the equation here. We'll get to that in a second. The Chargers needed help. They needed to find something in terms of weapons outside of Ladd McConkey, and they came in droves this game. And it worked. Herbert found everybody in the moments that counted. Keenan Allen was back to his old self. Third and Keenan. He's out there somewhere. It worked. Ladd McConkey, it worked. Even Tyler Conklin, who I was telling everybody in fantasy and everything, take the man in this week because the Chiefs have given up some yards to tight end. He goes off for a pretty good game too. But it's all orchestrated by Justin Herbert, the man who is able to push the ball down the field. And when all else failed, take a look at this other stat down here. 32 yards on the ground as well. That helped close this game out. And there was even another run for 20 yards that got called off the board because of penalty. So we may have seen a 50-yard day from Justin Herbert. And that's actually another thing that I mentioned in my short, maybe even in my YouTube video, of what I wanted to see from Herbert. I mentioned that Lamar, Josh Allen, I think even Russell Wilson, these guys put up 50 yards on the ground versus the Chiefs as quarterbacks. And we knew the Chiefs weren't 100% ready to stop stuff like that. I wanted to add Justin Herbert's name to that list. If you count that other run that got, tossed away because of penalty, yeah, his name is on that list for around 50 yards. Now, officially 32 yards, that is huge. Not just for, the stats, but because of the situations where you see that. This is something Patrick Mahomes does all the time. We saw it how many times in this game? We're going to get over to their side here in just a second, where it feels like the drive is dead. Nobody's open. It's third down. You got 15 yards in front of you. Then all of a sudden, holy crap, it's first down. Patrick Mahomes got it. Justin Herbert, we saw a few times today do just that. And the more he sees success in that, the more defenses off the rip are going to have to think twice before, not accounting for him as a runner in the future. I guarantee you got the Raiders next week. They're going to go to the film room and see, okay, he's not afraid to run it anymore. What do we do about that? It's going to soften up coverage. It's going to soften up the middle a little bit for your run game. Ultimately, Justin Herbert being able to finally utilize that skill set is going to help this offense tremendously going forward. Okay? So at the end of the day, bravo to Justin Herbert. We won this game largely in due part to Justin Herbert's effort, his heroism, and the incredible performance that he put up today. 318, 3 touchdowns. This is as exciting of a start to the season as any Chargers fan could have hoped for. Let's continue moving down the list. Now, rushing is something that I was hoping to see a little bit more from. I'm not going to lie. We were hoping to see a little more from Omari and Hampton. I was hoping to see this number in particular a little higher, 3.2. Now, that's not to say that he didn't have some great runs this week. He really, really did. The Chiefs' defense especially are hard to run on, so we kind of expected maybe a slow start. I was hoping for a bigger start, but this is very understandable. But weaved in between some of those smaller runs that ultimately led us to that 3.2 yard per carry average, there were some big plays in there, and more in particular, the plays that defined him as a player for me coming into the league. The heavy runs, the tough runs, the physicality, the speed even, the ability to find his vision. I would say there was one play where I was like, well, welcome to the NFL, rookie. He cut, to the right when he should have cut left. There's a huge lane in front of him that he missed. But outside of that, I feel like the rest of the game, he was spot on with his assignment, what he was supposed to do. And he made some really, really excellent decisions outside of running out of bounds to close the first half, which, again, another rookie mistake that you could have hoped for. So I guess my point is with Omari and Hampton, the best is yet to come. He's shaking off some of that rookie, mistake stuff early. It's the first game of the season, lots of pressure, but he really showed me why I was so high on him in the draft and why coming to the Chargers is such a perfect fit for him as a player and for us as a need of the position. I was hoping to see a little bit more Najee Harris. I don't know if I expected 1 carry for 5 yards. I was expecting maybe like 6 or 7 carries. To Hampton's, yeah, I was expecting around 15. But of course, he's being eased in because of the eye injury. But mark my words, there was one point in the game where Omarion ran for 5 yards. And then we checked in Najee Harris, who I think he also ran for 5 yards, where I saw the vision unfolding in front of me. Like, who's going to stop this run offense in the future? If you've got a fresh Omarion coming onto the field and then a fresh Najee Harris coming onto the field, you just have this relentless jackhammer of an offense, brutally punishing that defensive line of your opponent. I'm very excited for the future when Najee Harris gets an appropriate amount of reps. And I'm thinking, it's probably going to be Najee 10, Hampton like 16. I would love to run the football in and around 25 to 30 times a game in the future, and I think it's really going to work out in our favor. Now let's talk about maybe one of the biggest aspects of the season, not just in this game. This is a huge reason why the Chargers won this game, but I think this is going to be also a big reason why the Chargers are a dangerous team this season. This has season-long consequences, and they are very exciting, and they're positive consequences. For one, Quentin Johnston, my friend, you have arrived. Vlad McConkey, we knew who he was, fantastic game. But you add Keenan Allen, Tyler Conklin, Trey Harris, who had a big first down. Lambert Smith was out there. We'll see more from him in the future. All these weapons, including the running backs, mind you, have created this environment of insane potential for Justin Herbert. And we're starting to see it. Number one, we just beat the Chiefs. Season opener, 1-0. The AFC champs for so many years, not anymore. For two, Justin Herbert was allowed to really take control of this game several times. I've noticed a lot of audibling from Justin Herbert, and he was very successful at that. But this has created an environment, like I said, where Justin Herbert has so many options that you feel every time you're on a 3rd and even 15 or, a 2nd and 8 that you're likely going to convert. I don't know how many 3rd downs. Is that a stat that they track on here? How many 3rd downs that we converted? It felt like a lot. It felt like a whole lot. And it's something that I expect to fully see more as we continue. There was one play in particular, I couldn't tell you what drive or even quarter it was. I'm pretty sure it was in the 4th quarter, where the Chargers ran a tight formation, the kind that has 2 receivers on each end and then 2 slot receivers inside. Those slot receivers were Keenan Allen and Vlad McConkey. It was a had-to-have it moment in terms of a 3rd down, and you felt in your soul that either Ladd or Keenan was going to be open for that conversion. And guess what happened? It was Keenan Allen. And a whole lot of Keenan Allen this week that kept this drive and this offense going and this team alive. Holy cow, man. Quentin Johnston, let's start at the top here. These weapons are absolutely upgraded. Watch out. Like last season was the season of defense, which I hope to continue seeing that this year. There's a lot to be excited about this first game. But the last season being about the defense, I really think this season's going to be about the offense. The running offense is going to get even better, but the options that are plentiful at Justin Herbert's fingertips all of a sudden really get me excited for the potential of us running into opponents and scoring a whole lot of points, taking control of the game late. It's going to be awesome. So let's start again. I keep rambling because I'm getting so excited about the Chargers' potential at wide receiver because it looks so good, starting at the top here with Quentin Johnston. Now, Quentin Johnston's gotten a lot of flack, deservedly so, right? There's been a lot of drops, a lot of inconsistencies throughout the first few seasons of his career that make us all very hesitant of who he is in the long term. But what we've heard all offseason is how much of a leap Quentin Johnston has taken in this season, how reliable he's looked, and he proved it this week. You guys remember that game so many seasons ago, the Mike Williams 2-point walk-off win versus the Chiefs? I'm going to hold Quentin Johnston in a very similar light to that this season. We had to have that touchdown at the end. We didn't know how it was going to happen. It felt like maybe Keenan was coming in or whatever. Here comes Quentin Johnston. Not 1, but 2 touchdowns, 80 yards. I feel like the rumors were true. We have something. And what's crazy is that he's building off of what was already a very good red zone offense or red zone season for himself last year. 8 touchdowns was awesome. It feels like we finally have something that's working in the red zone that the Chargers, or in the end zone, that the Chargers can look at, that Justin Herbert can start trusting, despite, yes, there was one dropped ball, a tough catch, in the back corner of the end zone for Quentin today, but he still put up the 2 touchdowns. Ultimately, we would not have won that game without QJ today. So congratulations to number 1. I hope to continue seeing him improve this season. But the reality that we live in, where Quentin Johnston does hit, where he does become the potential that the Chargers saw in the first round a few seasons ago, that is the best version of this offense in terms of wide receiver. I saw a lot of talk about maybe pushing him out for, Trey Harris or, Keandre Lambert-Smith, et cetera, especially after we signed Keenan Allen, which is fair, right? Those are exciting options. But Quentin Johnston, the version that we're living with right now, where he is this big weapon for Justin Herbert, he is this, threat to score in the end zone. This is a really good version of the Chargers receiving core that we live in. I'm very excited for it. Next up, Ladd McConkey. We knew he would be great. He was awesome. 6 receptions for 74 yards. Probably saw a whole lot of Trent McDuffie this week, so you can expect to see that even increase as we go on. I'm excited to see what Ladd McConkey does week 2 versus the Raiders, baby. It's going to be awesome. And this is, again, I think in part due to the Keenan Allen return. Some of us were worried in terms of fantasy, like is it going to cut into Ladd McConkey? A little bit, but in terms of real-life football, we could not be more excited, because how many first downs were as a result of this tandem? Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen are going to be one of the most frustrating route-running wide receiver duos in the league, mark my words. That one formation I mentioned to you guys, that tight formation where we had them both in the slot, that is something that really paints a picture to how the Chargers understand what they got in both of these guys. In those situations where you got to have it on third down, I really feel confident that either Keenan or Ladd is gonna find a way to convert. That is super exciting. Tyler Conklin had a couple of pretty big plays, exciting times. I think the best is yet to come with him as well. But 50 yards on 2 catches, yeah, I'm definitely not going to complain about that. Will Dissly on that awesome first down in the fourth quarter. Omarion Hampton with the 2 catches, I expect that to increase. Honestly, Hampton to me feels like a 4 or 5 catch running back per week to me. And I think we're going to start seeing a little bit more of that as the season goes on. Trey Harris with the first down. Najee Harris with the 5. Exciting times, man. Now to help wrap up this game, let's look at the defense a little bit, who I'm going to say had a really strong first half. All of us were excited to see the Chargers going into the locker room with only field goals scored by the Kansas City Chiefs. Now we're looking at, honestly, a schedule that, it's still pretty tight. You got Ashton Genty to worry about next week. You got the Broncos and their offense, which has looked better, to worry about the week after that. But I feel a lot of confidence in this group in a couple of areas. One, safety looks incredible. Now, there was that one play to Hollywood Brown that I was really worried about. But outside of that, Derwin James was everywhere. That's what you expected. He held down the fort versus Kelsey for a majority of the game. Kelsey did slip away at that one point. I don't know who was covering him for the touchdown, but that was fantastic. Derwin James really is the pinnacle part of the defense, where it's like everything kind of revolves around him, and it feels like Jesse Minter really put him to good use this week in shutting down Patrick Mahomes for the most part, right? I'm not even going to say shutting down Patrick Mahomes, but just allowing the Chargers to stay in the game, right? Derwin James, fantastic. But where I think I was the most impressed this week was the interior of the defensive line. In particular, a player that's going to get a talking to after this game despite the win in Teair Tart. Teair Tart, dude, I don't know where he learned it. I don't know where he gets it, but slapping that football out of the air, it seems to be his specialty. He's not just out here slapping Kelsey faces. He's slapping that football at the line. And 2 passes defended is something that, honestly, if I'm to be transparent with you guys, I was making a hype video for my YouTube channel yesterday. I was scrubbing a whole lot of footage from the Chargers last season, and that was some of my favorite plays from Teair Tart at the line of scrimmage was, batting those passes down. He gets 2 of them in this game. He felt disruptive. There's, constant presence from Teair Tart. I was very impressed with him, but the run defense was especially really good for the most part. If you take a look at the stats, sure, I think they ended up getting more rushing yards than us, mainly due to Patrick Mahomes. But when it came to stopping the running back, the Chargers had done a really good job, limiting it to it's going to be under 50 yards. That is awesome. But the big thing the Chargers need to figure out which I'm hoping they have a plan for before their next meeting, because I'm not going to lie, Patrick Mahomes, despite the loss, had an absolutely insane game. We got to find a way to stop him. Keep him in front of us. The one time I felt very confident that, hey, I think we got ourselves an answer is when Dan Henley was sent out there as in a spy role. He was able to mirror Patrick Mahomes and ended up, I don't know if it was a sack or a tackle, stop that drive completely. I don't know why we moved away from that. Because after that, it was just run after run after run for first down after first down after first down. And then you got that touchdown on top of it. We're hoping to see a little bit more consistency in stopping Patrick Mahomes on the ground the next time we face him. But yeah, dude, I'm going to give props to Patrick Mahomes, though. He had a really good game, 281 for the touchdown, but mostly shouldering this offense on his, on the ground, running the football. I felt like at times he was the only thing keeping them in this game. And he had some absolutely insane throws in this one. The mid-air throw, which you see in a lot of, promos. He did it a few years back where he's like levitating off the ground and gets the throw off before he is downed. He had the crossbody throw to that Hollywood Brown. He looked awesome. So, I mean, props are due. But and they have an incredible quarterback. We have to remember that as Chargers fans. If we want to keep, our eye on the ball and understand our competition, he still is a fantastic, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But his supporting cast right now is just not there. No Worthy, no Rashee Rice, no Xavier, no Jalen Royals. We have to be prepared for that in our next meeting later down the line. All right. So that being said, Chargers, absolutely fantastic effort. This is going to be one of those games that I tell my kids about, as they grow up. I have kids, but as they grow up and we enjoy football together, this will be one of those games that I refer to as, hey, get on the lap, kid. I'm going to tell you about this one time the Chargers took on the Kansas City Chiefs in Brazil. Home opener, the entire world watching, and we walked out victorious. Justin Herbert had a game for the ages, a legendary game to take down the former AFC West champs, and the Bolts behind Jim Harbaugh feel like the real deal. The best is yet to come, Bolt fam. I'm stumbling over myself because I'm in literal shock at what we just witnessed. The insane environment, the insane circumstances revolving around it, and the statement that was just made. I'm going to close the stream off with this, okay? A couple of years ago, me and my buddies, we went to a vacation in Vegas, okay? And in that season, it was during the season opener that we were on this vacation. I said, hey, let's go to a restaurant. Let's watch the game. Let's have a good time. And that particular season opener was the the Chiefs versus the Lions. And if you guys remember back then, the Lions were kind of up and coming, but they really weren't that team that we know today quite yet. And in that game, the Lions defeated the Chiefs, who were still in their prime in their dynasty run. And it absolutely shocked the world because, of course, everybody was watching. It was the kickoff to the season. And from then on out, the Detroit Lions have been a threat every single season. They had, at the time, rookie running back Jahmyr Gibbs paired up with awesome, David Montgomery. They had a legendary head coach that's really turned their culture around. They have this incredible quarterback that's coming into his own. I'm just going to ask you guys, do those sound familiar to you? Does that narrative sound familiar to you? It's because it's what we're living through right now. Just like the Lions opened up the eyes of the world to who they really were in that season opener a few seasons ago, the Chargers did just that in their season opener today. The archetype looks similar. The narrative feels similar. And I'm hoping that the result is similar at the end of the year, where everybody's picking the Chargers as a possible Super Bowl contender. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you like what you saw here, hit us up with a follow on Bleacher Report. I look so forward to seeing you guys next week versus the Raiders. Till then, bolt up, stay frosty, and live in the moment, Bolt fam. This is one of the best